Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Dungeons in the Attic podcast. Climb the stairs, take a seat, grab some dice. It's time to play some RPGs in the attic. I'm your host, DM Mike, and I'm here by myself again, alone, playing some solo RPGs. We are continuing episode 3 of Barrows and Borderlands by Matthew Tapp. We have had 2 episodes so far that have been all about setting up the scenario, setting up what's going on and what's going on with Tomasin, our main character, the psychic Puritan girl. She's a young woman who's very afraid. She's receiving visions of this diabolic mechanism, this machine that is somewhere in her mind. It's being built, but it's incomplete. We keep receiving the message, incomplete. And we're not really sure. She's not really sure what it is, what it means. She's terrified. And so just a quick recap, she goes to Father Morgrave, her cleric in town. He tells her to drop it, hide it, whatever he's got to do. And he prays about it afterwards. And he receives a message from his god, their deity, Mendorf. Mendorf is a being of light, justice, purification. It's the entity that this Puritan religion is based around. And Mendorf tells him there is going to be an invasion of the Citadel's safety, and it is coming in the near future. And that sends Morgrave over the top. He starts to believe that Tomasin might actually be seeing something. And so we rolled that it was a positive experience for the PC, the player character, because it was like a random scene. And so I decided that Morgrave, in an attempt to help Tomasin, an attempt to say sorry, would bring her before somebody he trusts, which is Governor Ruckforth, the sort of slimy, not so trustworthy governor of Chiron's Crossing, which is the name of the Citadel, the name of this city keep on the edge of civilization. And Governor Ruckforth sends Morgrave away, tells Tomasin to come with him. He's got a Palpatine kind of vibe, snaky. And they descend down the tower of the keep where Governor Ruckforth's headquarters are, down into his dungeon. And he tricks her. He says he's going to treat her to some lunch, and he actually throws her into this smelly, gross dungeon, locks it and takes away the key, and tells her that she needs to think on her sins and think on her vision, what it means. So we know that he's nefarious. Now, you might be saying to yourself, gee, Mike, you kind of just did that without any indication from any rolls or any tables. You know, you just kind of went for it. Yeah. And that's what you got to do in solo role playing. Sometimes you just got to go for it. Sometimes you know where you want the story to go, and you kind of just got to push it there. The oracles and the tables are there for you to generate ideas, not for you to rely on for every single question you have. If you've got an idea of where you want this story to go for it. Just do it. The tables can help you maybe come up with a more interesting or creative solution or something you haven't thought of. But ultimately, if you've got a good idea and you know you want the story to go a certain direction, just do it. Don't worry so much about it. There should be a good balance of moving towards things that you want to do and also introducing random elements you haven't thought of. And those two things working together are a great little steam engine that is going to keep your story moving forward as you play solo RPGs. So that is what I did. I said, screw it. He's going to take her to the dungeon. I don't need any dice to tell me that that's what's going to happen. So when she gets to the dungeon, she hears a voice. Oi, girl, over here. That's when we cut to black in our last episode, but now episode 3 is about to begin. Tomasin is now in this jail cell. She hears this voice and she looks over, and in the jail cell next to her is this little halfling, and he's laying down on a bale of, not a bale, but a spread of hay, a really rudimentary bed of hay. And he's got maybe a little bit of it in his mouth. And feet crossed, laying down, he's sort of beckoning her. He's like, oi, girl, what'd you do to get in here? Stole a pig? I don't think we need to roll for her reaction. I think her reaction is one of, she's afraid. She's quiet. There's a prisoner, right? She's in a dungeon. Okay, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to her in her life. She is in a dark, damp dungeon. She has done something wrong and she doesn't know what. And she's surrounded by people she thinks are criminals. And she might look across through the bars, across the hallway here, and see some other creatures. That looks like some sort of dog, dragon, scrawny little thing. Next to him looks like some sort of weird, is that just a tree growing in the middle of this jail cell? But it's kind of got a face. Is it moving? And then over there, what's that? Is that glowing? A green, like skull-like glowing figure, a skeleton? What? Where is she? What is going on? She's terrified. I think she's absolutely out of her mind with terror. And she sort of falls back to the deepest corner of this cell here and just starts praying, muttering. And the halfling speaks up again, laying down in his pile, not really too fussed about it. Oi, I've tried that. Praying's not gonna work, girl. Trust me, I've prayed every good days. Not one of them has come to me rescue. Well, maybe. And he sort of sits up and he holds onto the bars and he looks through them. He goes, Oi, girl, ain't no reason to be afraid of us. We's just proper gentlemen minding our own business. We ain't do nothing, right, boys? And across the aisle in the dungeon, these other creatures, maybe they don't say anything. Maybe Grak the Kobold's like, Rah. He's like, see? He agrees with me. And then Grak's friend Kalir is like, that's not what he said. He said he hates you. Oh, who asked you anyway, flower boy? And that's when maybe Kalir kind of moves into the light and Tomasin can see fully that he is actually a mutant plant man. And she's terrified of that too. She's never seen creatures like this before. This is insane. And so she starts muttering prayers. Mendorf, please, I'll be good. I'll go to church every day. I'll pray every day. I'll become a sister of Mendorf. Please, I beg of you, please save me from this. And she's muttering these prayers. And then at that moment, a door opens. This wooden door at the end of this hall. So if you can imagine a dungeon with a hallway in the middle, right? And then two sides of jail cells, right? 2 cells on each side. So 4 cells total. And then at the end of that hall, one end of the hall is a stairway up where they came from. The other end of the hall is a wooden doorway. And that doorway opens and this tough looking guard comes out. He's got a scar on his lower chin here. Lower chin. Is there an upper chin? And he's got a scar on his chin and he's pretty gruff looking. He's like, oi, quiet in there. Enough. And he bangs maybe he's got like a little club. He bangs it on the jail cell bars here. And so he rattles them around and he says, you get back, halfling. And the halfling sort of moves back from the bars that he was looking into Tomasin's cell and he sort of goes, all right, big boy, all right. Hey, nothing in me hands, right? I've got nothing. Not going to do nothing. Not going to say nothing, right? Is yeah. You just get back. And Patricky Porkpie, who we don't know his name yet, but, we know his name. He settles back into the hay and sort of lays back like it's no big deal. And the guard heads back towards the door he came from and shuts it. And you might be able to hear the sounds of a few more guards behind that door. And so at this point, I think Patrick is going to sit up again and he's going to go over to the bars and he's going to whisper this time, oi, girl, you see that? That guard had a key, right? Hanging off his belt. Sure enough, the guard had keys jangling from his belt. And he continues, now, he's not going to trust me. Folks like me, he's never going to trust me, but he might trust you. And maybe if you can find a way to distract him, get him into your cell, you can steal his key, give it to me, I'll let us out, and we'll be out of here Jiminy Splits. So she's hesitant. She continues to pray. Let's see, can Patrick convince her? So let's look at Patrick's character sheet. He's got a 12 in charisma. Okay, so he's got to roll a 12 or under, I think, to convince Tomasin, or at least to just get it started, right? A 7. Okay, not bad. Just a little bit above half. So I think Patrick's going to lean in and he's going to realize he's got to have a softer touch here. And he's going to be like, oi, listen, little girl, I don't know what you did to get in here, but you're afraid, right? I'm afraid too, right? I didn't do nothing. I mean, pinched me a loaf of bread, maybe a few coins. Is it wrong for a man to try to survive out here? You've got to do what you got to do, right? Some of us don't grow up in the safety of the citadel. Some of us have to make it out there. So listen, right? I don't think you did nothing. You seem like a scared little one. And I think you and I have more in common than we realise. But if we stay here, there's going to kill all of us, see? They don't like our kind, and they sure don't like those two. And he points to Grak and Kalir, the mutant plant, and the kobold in the other cell. And of course, Grak is like, see? Who could like a dog like that anyway? And Kalir is like, he's not a dog. He is a kobold. Very strange voice that Kalir has. Right. Dog, kobold, same difference. And look at him. Look at that glowing green skull. Hey, he looks crazy, right? And that's when Father Nicodemus sort of turns his head to look, and he's just got this green fire in his eyes and that skull, that black skull smile of teeth. He's not really smiling, but it's, that's all he has is teeth. He can't make facial expressions, so he always looks like he's sort of grinning. And this like green, gooey mass around him that's always radiating. And he doesn't say anything, but Patrick speaks for him. Who could love a face like that, right? Only a mother, and maybe not even her. But I believe everyone in here is innocent to the bone. Pure as snow, and I believe the same of you. Now, do you want to let that Ruckforth take us all out, hang us in the town square? Or do you want to do something? Are you angry? Are you afraid? We could work together. We don't have to be afraid anymore. And I think Tomasin will relent at this point. I think she will sort of dry her tears and she'll sort of turn towards Porkpie and say, I just want to see my mom and dad. I know, dearie. I just want to see me mom and dad too. And I think this really does impact Patrick, I think this is a really emotional moment for him. I don't think he's beyond having a soft spot, even if he is a thief. So let's go see him again, right? Help me get out of here. And Tomasin nods and wipes away the last of her tears. Okay, what do I do? All right, that's what I'm talking about. Now, listen, right? The guard, he's got the keys on his belt, right? We just got to lure him in. Maybe say you've got some sort of tummy ache or something like that. Something to lure him in, right? Be really convincing. Really grab your stomach, double over in pain, really sell it. He's going to come in, and maybe if he just leans a little closer to my side, I can just nab the key right off him. But if he doesn't, you're going to have to do it. Going to need to have real quick hands. Be real slow-like, see? Just like that. And he motions like picking a cherry off of a tree or something. So Tomasin is scared and obviously hesitant. She's never done anything like this. And if she does this, she really is doing something worth punishment. But let's see. Let's see what she does. So she is going to use her charisma. So let's get out Tomasin's charisma here, and let's see what kind of job she's going to do. So Tomasin has a charisma of 11. Not great, but not bad either. I mean, Porkpie was 12. It's not like it's that low. So we got to roll an 11 or under. We don't need to roll an 11 or under to get the guards to come out, but we do need to roll an 11 or under to convince them that something's wrong and for them to come into the cell. So here we go. Take a D20. We need an 11 or under. All right, 17. That's not going to cut it. So she's going to sort of timidly be like, my stomach. Oh, it hurts. Oh, somebody, please, guards, and the guards are going to come out, right? And the door's going to burst open. Guard's going to come out looking sort of dumb and angry about being interrupted. Maybe you can see through the door. Maybe they're playing some cards in there or something like that, doing some betting. And he's going to come out angry faced, and he's going to come up right to the bars, and he's going to be like, "Oi, girl," and smacking the club between the two metal bars. "Shut it! Enough out of you!" And Tomasin's going to immediately sort of stop what she's doing because she realizes it's not working. And I think at this point, Patrick might try to distract the guard, try to get him to look at him instead, and maybe signal to Tomasin, like, now's your chance. Reach your little skinny arms through the bars and grab the key. Patrick had a 12, charisma of 12. So we're going to roll a 12 or under to see if he can distract the guard. A 6. That's great. So he says, "Oi, ugly. Yeah, I called you ugly. See, why are you treating a little girl like that anyway?" And the guard walks over to Porkpie's cell right next to him. And Porkpie sort of gives this motion, this look to Tomasin, like, now's your chance. Like, he gives her a wink, and he nods his head towards this guy's belt. And I think Tomasin's going to get the message, and I think she's going to have to try to go for it. She's going to have to go for it. So what does she have? Tomasin has a dexterity of 10. Oof. It's going to be rough. I'm going to give her a negative modifier to this roll because this is going to be really difficult. I'm going to give her a modifier of +2, which will make the roll harder for her. It's more likely she's going to roll over a 10. So she's going to get a +2 to this D20 roll here. All right, here we go. 13, 14, 15. Yikes. She rolled a 13, +2, 15. Ain't no way it's happening. So she reaches gingerly through the bars, her fingers just barely falling on the keys, and then he grabs her arm, this guy. I think he turns, he's like, "What are you doing?" And he grabs her arm by the wrist. He starts squeezing her arm. She can feel the pain. Her bones and skin are bruising. And he starts to twist her arm like, "You think you could get away with that? Are you out of your mind? I ought to break your arm." And at that moment, I think Tomasin's latent psychic abilities are going to awaken again. I think this almost magenta fire is going to light up in her eyes, and she's going to stare deep into this guard's soul. And we are going to use Tomasin's first ability here. She has Mental Assault 1. So Mental Assault is a discipline of a psychic, and she has the first rank in it because I spent all of my psychic points to get Mental Assault. So it's on page 41 in Psychics and Sorcerers. So we're going to go to page 41. Okay, page 41, Mental Assault. So she only has rank 1, so she can only do the first power, which is Ego Assault. Worthlessness overwhelms the subject. They must make a sorcery saving throw or take no actions. They must roll every round the user concentrates. Wow. Worthlessness overwhelms the subject. So according to the rules, I don't need to roll to cast this. I can just immediately do it. But it's spent for the day. If I were to roll and I rolled successfully, I would be able to keep it. So by guaranteeing a success, by just using it, spending it, I also lose it for the day. We're going to use Ego Assault on this guard, and she can concentrate and use Ego Assault on this guard for 1 turn per her hit die. So she has 1 hit die at level 1, so she gets 10 minutes essentially of playtime with this man's mind. And if they take damage, they must make a paralysis saving throw. So let's go to Horrors and Treasures, the book, and let's find a guard because we need to roll a sorcery saving throw for him. All right, so for ease of use, we're just going to use the bandit for now. I can't find a soldier or a guard at this moment, so bandit's fine. Bandit has, let's see, a save of 16. So this guard is going to have to make a sorcery saving throw at 16 or better in order to avoid this psychic assault. He rolls an 11. So not going to cut it. So he is immediately overcome with this feeling of worthlessness. He is put into the deepest pit of sorrow and despair that he can imagine. And it just completely takes away his ability to operate in any meaningful way. He just suddenly becomes catatonic. He's just staring straight ahead into Tomasin's eyes. And I don't even know if Tomasin is aware that she's doing this, but it is happening. And I think Patrick Porkpie is seeing this, and he sort of got this face of like, what the hells? But he kind of shakes himself out of it, and he reaches out of the bars and grabs the guard's keys, sort of wide-eyed, like, what is going on? But does it matter? He's got the keys. He unlocks the cell and slides it open. Now, at this point, the guards that are in the guard room playing cards, are they going to become alerted? They're going to hear a jail cell sliding open. Are they going to kind of lean in and look? Now, let's imagine they're playing cards, right? They're having a good time. They're drinking. If they leaned over across the table and looked down the hallway, what would they see? They would see the back of their guard buddy looking into a jail cell. That's all they'd see. They might catch Patrick grabbing the keys. Let's quickly make a dexterity check for Patrick. See if he can do this quick enough before somebody notices. So Patrick has a dexterity of 16. That's really high. He's really fast and nimble. So I think he's going to have no problem with this. Oh my, I forgot to roll it on camera, but he rolled a 17, and I'm not going to take that back. So I think they are going to catch him doing this. He's going to quickly nab the keys, and one guard is going to be like, "Oi, you see that? He's taking the keys." And they're all going to sort of bowl over the table. Coins and money and beer is going to go everywhere, and they're going to all sort of clog up the door, pulling out their swords as they try to get through and all rush over. Okay, so Patrick has the keys, but now these guards are all rushing out the door here. This is a big problem. What's he going to do? I think he knows he can't just unlock his cell. They're going to just bum rush him, and then the game's up. So I think he's going to think fast, and he's going to slide the keys underneath his cell towards, let's see, who would he pick? Okay, Kalir, the mutant plant, has the spell Sleep. I think he's going to slide the keys across the floor here. They're going to go underneath his cell into Kalir and Grak's cell, the Kobold and the mutant plant man's cell. Because Kalir has a first level sleep spell, which he doesn't need weapons to use this sleep spell. He can just cast it because it's within him. It's innate. And I think all of these guards suddenly all together, this is the moment. Kalir knows it's now or never. He's got to cast this spell. So here is the spell chart for casting a spell. The spell level is 1, and his casting level is also 1. So in this chart, we have 3 effects. We have the spell immediately takes effect, the spell is delayed until the next round, and then the last one is we have a critical miscast. So the way we determine this is we use 2 d6s, and we roll on this spell chart. So let's grab 2 d6s. And I don't think he gets any bonuses to casting spells because of his intelligence or anything like that. It's just about how advanced you are. So here we go. Okay, 4 and a 6, 10. I think that's going to be plenty because on this chart, he has to roll an 8 for it to immediately take effect. We rolled a 10. We rolled over that. We're good to go. So the spell is immediately going to take effect. Let's just go to his spell, Sleep. Puts 2 to 16 1-hit die or weaker creatures to sleep for the duration, which is 2 turns, which is 20 minutes. So these guys are all 1-hit die. So we're going to roll a d6. We're going to see how many guards there actually are. All right, so there's 4 guards total. So the one guy out here plus 3 that were in the office, if you will, the guards' quarters. So there's 4 of these guys total. Now, it can put to sleep 2 to 16. This is an old school way of writing 2d8, right? Because the lowest you could get is 2 if you got 2 ones, and the highest you could get was 16 if you rolled 8 on both d8s. So we're gonna roll. It's an old convention that I do appreciate because I like old school games. I like the ways that they were written and the ways that they were done back then, and which I appreciate. Thank you, Matthew, for making it this way. So we got 2d8 here. I guarantee you we're gonna cover 4. Yeah. So we got a total of 12. So we're going to be putting to sleep 12 1-hit die creatures. 1-hit die just means level 1. 2 hit die, level 2, 3 hit die, level 3, and so on. So we can put to sleep 12 creatures of 1 hit die, which is way more than we need. There's only 4 here. So these guys run out, they're stumbling, they're sort of just throwing on their armor and their helmets, grabbing their swords. They run over as Patrick nabs the keys off of the guard that's been stunned by Tomasin, and he throws them, chucks them across the hall. They land in the cell at Grak's feet. He barely knows what he's looking at. And Kalir stands up and he immediately goes into caster mode. His eyes flip backward. He forms this sort of, I see it as like he's like a blooming plant, a blooming flower at all times. There's always this sort of like radiation, this like green sort of energy. It reminds me of from Hellboy 2, there's that like crazy plant kaiju that attacks the city. It's an awesome fight scene where Hellboy is like fighting this beautiful, like gorgeous monster that's like has moss power and has flowers growing out of it and some bark and it's got this like green glowing center in the center of his skull, his head. And I see Kalir like this, a very vague shape of eyes and mouth and way more like flower and plant than human. There's this like green glowing sort of center that blooms as he starts to cast spells. So the top of his head kind of folds back like a plant, and you see this green glowing energy sort of start to emanate, and he seems to like draw that power from the top of his head, and these spores shoot out from his hands, and it's just like this gas cloud almost of spores that envelop the guards, and they all start sneezing and coughing, and one by one, they drop, they hit the floor, and they're out. And we got 20 minutes. And in that time, Tomasin and the rest are going to unlock all the cells, and they are going to get the heck out of there. And Patrick's going to run over. He's going to give Tomasin a big hug. He's about, I'd say he's shorter than her, actually, right? Because she's around like 17. So she's a little bit taller at this point, and he's a halfling. So he's shorter than her, and he hugs her around the waist, and he's like, "You did it. I know you could do it. You made me proud, girl. Now let's get the heck out of here." At this point, I think they're going to run into the guards' quarters. They're going to grab their swords, their backpacks, their crowbars, their 3-foot of chain. Everybody's going to get all of their inventory back. And now they're going to have to find their way out of here. At this point, we have to determine what their next move is going to be. Are they going to go up the tower and try to escape through Ruckforth's keep? Are they going to go... Is there a way down out of here? Maybe there is a way down and we just didn't see it. Maybe it's through the guards' quarters. There's a way down, right? I mean, that's the most secure area. So let's see. I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into these guards' quarters, grab all of our stuff. Let's see if there's anything in here that might be useful at all. I don't think there's going to be any sort of magic or treasure here. Aside from a few coins we could probably pick off of the guards here. I'm sure Patrick's going to sort of pick a few coins, maybe a coin pouch or two. We'll roll a d20 and we'll see if he can grab some silver coins off of these guys. 3. So there's 3 silver coins. We'll add those to Patrick's. He just nabs a quick little coin purse on a string on this guy's belt. Not bad. And we're going to add that to his inventory. So Patrick now has 4 silver on his person, but I do believe there's going to be more here. This is a sort of armory of sorts. So I want to see if there's any gunpowder or arrows. So let's roll on the fate chart here. So we started at 6 chaos because things started going very, very badly for Tomasin in the last scene. We're going to go back down to 5 because things are starting to go well for the characters. So what is the likelihood that there is gunpowder in this guard room? I would say it's pretty high. I would say it's likely that they would store gunpowder here. Maybe a small amount, just enough, for reloading and things like that. So I'm going to go with likely, and it's going to be a 65 or less to find some gunpowder here. So we're going to grab 2d10. 65 or less we want. We got a 5. That's an extreme result because if you look here on Chaos 5, a likely is a 65 or under, right? But the 13 here, this small number here to the left of that, if we roll under the 13, it's actually an extreme yes. Now that's interesting. An extreme yes. How do we want to reward ourselves with this extreme yes? Yes, there's gunpowder. And what? Is there a better pistol? Perhaps? Or another weapon? We're going to do the same odds. Likely 65 and under. All right, 0 and then 1. What the heck is going on? A 1? An extreme yes. Okay, I think we found our first magic weapon. This is just too much. Unfortunately, 2 extreme yeses and the second result is a 1. I think we have found some sort of, it's hard to say if it would be magic, but it's definitely powerful. So we've got some fun magic guns here. We have a Dynaco anti-material rifle. We have an Excaligun, a magic gun, a ray gun, and a thunder gun. Oof. I'm going to go with it's either a magic gun or it's an Excaligun. Because I think the others are a little too powerful right now, personally. I don't think that they would just be sitting around in this guard's quarters. I think possibly somebody mistook some of these weapons for normal weapons and they're just hanging out and they look cool and they're carved. Maybe a guard took them off of a prisoner that's been executed and the guard's like, oh, this looks pretty cool. And he just sort of took it for himself, hung it up, but he didn't realize it was magic. That's what I'm sort of going for here. So an Excaligun or a magic gun, just a base magic gun. So 50 or under, it's going to be a magic gun. 51 or above, it's going to be an Excaligun. So 94. So it is an Excaligun, a flintlock musket that strikes as if guided by magic. It always hits. As per the magic missile spell, roll to see if a critical is achieved on a 19 or 20. Though it fires black powder, the shot burns silver blue and sings as it flies. Excaligun. Oh, wow. Very cool. Like Excalibur. So cool. We're going to add that to Patrick's arsenal here. Okay, so he picks up this, he sees this musket. It's gorgeous. It's carved with like silver all over it and it looks pristine. And so he lifts the musket up. He's like, oh, hold on a sec. What are you doing here, beautiful? Being mistreated by these ogres. I'll take good care of you. And so he's going to grab a bundle of black powder. So we're going to have enough black powder or gunpowder for our bullets here. We'll just give ourselves 10. No arrows, but he does have some bullets and he's got the gunpowder and he's just going to grab what he can. I'll give him 5 more bullets. This thing's going to be a musket though. It's a little bit longer than he is. It's probably taller than he is, in fact. So it's going to be kind of hard for him to shoot this. I think he's only going to be able to shoot this thing lying down. He's going to have to go prone to use it. That's the rule I'm going to use. Because otherwise, there's no way he's going to be able to. Well, he doesn't need to aim it, actually, does he? He really doesn't, because it's a magic musket. He doesn't know that yet, but it is a magic musket that will always hit as per the magic missile rules, and we'll figure out how much the damage is. But now he's got this sick magic musket Excaligun. So cool. So they're in the guard's room. Everybody's in there, and they got to figure out where to go next. Is there a way out from the guard's chambers here that goes upward, downward, something like that? So we're going to roll I think it's very likely that this is not a dead end room. There's got to be somewhere that this leads out of, right? So we're going to go very likely 75 or less. Okay, 4. Holy moly, all these zeros. This red die keeps giving me double 0. I just keep getting 1s and 4s and 5s. So that's an extreme result. So not only is there a way out of here, yes, there's a way out of here, but also it leads downwards into a secret way out, which is dope. So there's a secret way out down here. So they open up this door and there are stone steps leading down into the darkness. And I think immediately Tomasin is overcome with some sort of feeling of apprehension. She is immediately feeling this like pangs of visions coming back. Those visions of that dark infernal machine. And maybe we even see a little bit of that like red light coming from the stairs down here. I think that's where we're going to end this session. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for episode 3 of our Barrows and Borderlands solo role-playing game. So excited to see where things go. Thanks for sticking with me as we sort of set things up and got things moving. And now that things are really cranking, I can't wait to get into some combat and get some shooting and hollering and smashing and slicing done and just have a good old time playing some RPGs and see who lives and see who dies. So thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.